everyone, and welcome back to Office Hours here at the Professor's Kitchen, where I sit down in my office with my beverage of choice, and I have the BB-8 mug out again tonight, and it is full of Get Lost tea, which is supposed to help with appetite cravings. So that is in honor of my guest tonight, who is Bridget Quinn. She is a health and fitness coach, among many other things, and all of the other hats that she wears. It's an honor and a privilege to have her here. She is a social media guru, influencer, super hilarious, super relatable. If you have not checked her out on Instagram, that is where I follow her, and she keeps me in stitches for most of the day. If nothing else, I think that the majority of my weight loss just comes from like belly laughing at some of the antics that she gets up to.
Perfect.
Online. So I absolutely love her already, even though we are just meeting tonight. And I cannot wait to learn more about her. So Bridget, hello and
Hi.
welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you here and to learn more about you. I feel like, and you've said this about other people as well, something about what you do online just makes people feel really comfortable. You are so relatable, and it feels like lots of strangers already know you just by what you share. You're so candid about like your family, and that sometimes you might refer to your kids as assholes, but not necessarily to their faces.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Woo.
happens.
We all feel it. I just have to open up and I have to admit it. And then other people come to me and they're like, I feel that too. And I'm like, oh good. Then you can let's be friends. Let's hang out together.
Yeah, because I've definitely said that about my
Yeah.
children, not to their faces,
Yes.
not to their faces.
Maybe to your spouse, sure. Like, oh my gosh, so and so, like huge asshole today, in case anybody was wondering.
Yeah, I might throw in like, oh my God, even like I might say jerk to their
Oh yeah.
faces, but
Yeah.
then when I report to dad, it
Yeah.
gets changed a little
Uh-huh.
bit. Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
guess what happened today?
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you what this little asshole did.
Yeah.
So, but please start. We want to, of course, always start at the beginning of our journey, because not only are you now this social media influencer and health guru and all of the things, but you're also a military spouse, a fellow military spouse as well.
Yeah.
And you're also a teacher, just
Yeah.
in general,
Yeah.
but a teacher, like an actual certified teacher as well. So how did you get into all of these things?
Yeah. So I come from a line of teachers. My whole family, my mom, my cousins and everything, they were all teachers. And when it was time for me to go to college, I did not want to be a teacher because everybody in my family was. And I actually started freshman year of college and was like, I'm going to be undeclared. I'm not even going to declare a major. I don't know what I want to do, but it's not that. And then like my sophomore year, I was like, no, actually I am going to be a teacher. This is like my calling. I'm really good with kids and I know that this is what I would be amazing at. So, went to Clemson University, got my degree in elementary education, and
Awesome.
I met my husband in high school actually. And so here's like the interesting thing about that, because I knew he was going to be in the Air Force, and I thought to myself, okay, well, what is a portable career, naively thinking, a portable career that I could take with me everywhere because we're
Mhm.
going to be moving. Oh, okay, I could be a teacher. And so I, I wanted to be a teacher, but I also knew that it would be a good thing to mesh with his line of work.
Mhm.
So then when I graduated, um, he was in pilot training, and I did 1 year of teaching. I taught kindergarten, and then after that first year he was still in training and he was super busy, and I was just kind of hanging out. Like, we were engaged at the time, and because he was still like a active duty but a student at the same time, I went back
Mhm.
to graduate school, and I actually was like shocked to me, but I was accepted to Columbia University.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and I got my degree as a reading specialist. And so that was only a 1 year program. And I lived in New York City, and did all of the Sex in the City's fun single. Like, I wasn't single, but I didn't live with anybody. So I like lived in the city and like lived it up for just a year. And then right after that, we got married. Like I think I graduated in July with my grad degree, and we got married. And then I was like kind of at a standstill because we were moving overseas. We knew we were moving overseas
Oh,
to
wow.
Japan. And so I couldn't get a teaching job because I was moving in 6 months, and he had more training to do. And I was just kind of literally living in a hotel room with him as a newlywed, waiting for us to go to Japan. And so I thought, okay, I'll just hang tight and wait until we get to our next, our new assignment. And, we moved to Japan. And I actually was lucky enough, overseas they have Dodia schools,
Right.
and I was lucky enough to get a job there as a teacher. And that's a hard thing to do because typically
It is
Dodge teachers are, once they're plugged in, they're there. Like they don't leave.
lifelong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're lifelong, and it's a sweet deal to be a Dodge teacher.
Yeah.
And
it
I
is.
had, yeah, and so I didn't sub or anything. We lived there for a few months in the
Wow.
summer, and then I got offered a job in the fall. But the funny like workaround way that I got offered a job, and this is what happens in military schools, is that they just had an overwhelming amount of kids move in that year, and so they
Mhm.
needed an extra kindergarten teacher last minute. And so that room opened up, they plugged me in quickly, and it was just like a happy like accident basically that I got into this Dodds teaching role. And so I taught there while we lived in Japan. And then by the time it was our third year there, I had my first child. And
Mhm.
that was when my teaching had to take, it made sense for me to stay home with her because we were moving back to the States
Yeah.
and all of the transitions that come with that. And I mean, I could keep going. I have other job stuff that I've done in between I can tell you about, but that was like
Please.
my teaching stuff. And then when we moved to our next assignment was New Mexico. And then I actually was able to teach there, and it was a cool situation where I taught at a private school. And at that time, I think she was 3, but
Okay.
the private school went up to like 12th grade. So I taught first grade there, but they were like, hey, you can bring your daughter to school because there's
Oh,
a preschool room.
okay.
And so she was able to go there, and I was able to teach there. And then I got pregnant with my second, and we were going to move again. And it was like, okay, I have to take a step back because we're moving
Yeah.
and stuff. And then this is where I got into like, and this wasn't as popular as it is now. It's super popular now, but working from home, the idea of like
Yeah.
finding a work from home job. And so I looked online. I think I can't even remember if I found it on like maybe Craigslist or something.
Oh
Like
my
something,
gosh.
yeah, but it was called, and then this company's still really like well known and stuff. It's called Varsity Tutors. And I thought, oh,
Oh
okay, let me
yeah.
see what this is about. But I didn't actually do tutoring. I worked on the admin side. So it was like a full-time job. And
Okay.
my job basically was like the matchmaker for families and tutors. Like families would put in a request for a certain kind of tutor, and then I would like match them. And they would all meet virtually. They would do tutoring sessions virtually. So that was what I did, and I did it for about 4 years.
Okay.
And I moved with that job. So this was my first taste of, oh my gosh, this is what a portable career is.
Right.
I like this. But what I didn't like was that and this is where I've kind of always struggled. I had a boss, and bosses are great, but you have to ask bosses for permission for time off, or like,
Right.
your kid is sick, and all of these other things fall into like having somebody that is above you. And
Mhm.
I had a hard time with that, especially as a mom. It was hard. My husband always gives me a hard time. He's like, you just don't do well having a boss. And so when I
Some people
left,
aren't meant to have bosses though.
right,
Like if you're supposed to be an entrepreneur and the
and I've
universe is
always kind of
telling
felt
you to
that.
do that.
Yes, I've always kind of felt that. And so finally, like I was with that company for 4 years, and we were moving again. And so I was like, it's time to, I don't want to be stressed about having this job, or because I've moved before, and you have to like balance your vacation time with your move, and like you don't want to
Right.
waste all your vacation days while you're moving, because that's, why would you want to like use vacation on moving? That's terrible, like it's not
Yes.
fun to do that.
It's
So
not a vacation
no,
to
it's
pack
not
up
a
all of your stuff and
no. And it was so stressful. And so I like suffered through that. But anyway, I learned that mistake. And so when we were moving again, I said, nope, I'm gonna end my relationship with them and I'm gonna try this whole entrepreneurial social media thing. And that's what I've been doing since 2019. So here I've fallen into this and this is what I've been doing and I've loved it. And I've really transformed like I've just kind of come out of my shell, I guess, especially when you have little kids, super, super young. It's
Mhm.
hard for you to socialize and to hang out with other moms. And
It is.
I feel, I mean, I don't want to generalize it, but I feel like most women tend to lose themselves or lose their identity a little bit. And, you know,
Yeah.
your husband comes home from work and that's the only adult that you can talk to for the day,
Yeah.
you know? And I was struggling with that. And I had some postpartum, I was never diagnosed, but like,
Mhm.
when I came out of it is when I was like, oh, I wasn't doing okay then, and I didn't know I wasn't, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's from 2019 to now, I've been doing this, and it's something new and exciting every day. And my husband doesn't even he always thinks I'm just goofing off, like on my because it kind of looks like that a little bit.
Sometimes.
But it's fun and I'm a lot nicer. Like I'm just not so grumpy. Like I don't know, I just have a good time with it. So, okay, that is my whole career spiel
That's
right there.
awesome. No,
Yeah.
that's so awesome. But I mean, so you've chosen a career now, like you've transitioned out of teaching.
Yeah.
Do you think that you'll ever go back to that
Mhm.
at some point? I mean, because technically, I guess you are still like coaching is still
Yeah,
so
and that's
similar to
super
teaching.
yeah, super good question because I still love teaching.
Mhm.
And I've always loved fitness. And so before I became a health and fitness coach, I actually was going to be a group fitness instructor. And I thought
Okay.
this is a great way to blend teaching people and
Mhm.
I'm teaching them about fitness and it's like a group fitness atmosphere. And then right when COVID, like literally March of 2020, like the world shut down, was
Yeah.
when it was that like I think it was like the next week I was supposed to take my group fitness certification test to be a group
Mhm.
fitness instructor. And then the world shut down and like I couldn't go to a testing facility, gyms weren't open, and I was like, what else
Right.
can I do? And I was like, well, I have my Instagram. Then my Instagram page was already its own thing, but I
Mhm.
never really like I just posted about mom life. I didn't really post a ton about the fitness stuff that I was doing.
Okay.
My Instagram page was always the same name, which is kind of funny to me. Like I never like changed it and it's like, oh wow, it like evolved into my name. I evolved in what to my the name of my handle was. It's called Shaping
Yeah.
the Mom. And
Yeah.
Shaping the Mom, when I came up with that name, was kind of like it wasn't so much like shaping myself physically, it's just like
Mhm.
growing and shaping and changing and evolving was kind of like the umbrella that I was talking about because as moms, like we definitely aren't the same people from when we start,
No.
we're always growing, changing, evolving. Military spouse, same thing.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of like where my Instagram name came from, my blog
Mhm.
name came from. Um, so yeah, so back to the if I will go back to teaching, I still think about it. I'm looking. We're moving this summer, and
Okay.
my youngest will be starting kindergarten, and so it'll be the first time that all of my kids will be in school full time. Because that's another struggle we deal with, is
Yay.
that right? It's a struggle that we deal with though, is that
Mhm.
if I go back to work, am I just going to be is my salary just going to be paying for childcare? So
Yes.
that's why I've always kind of had to do these other weird things where I could be home
Right.
with my kids or bring my kids with me to work or whatever. So I'm looking and thinking and wondering, like, I don't know, am I gonna sub for a little bit? I don't know what I'm gonna do. I
Yeah. And then too, with being a military spouse too, I shouldn't assume that this happens to you, but when a deployment comes up, that
yes.
could potentially affect
Oh my
your
god.
job and your job stability, your
Yes.
ability to just work like you normally do. Like nothing's
Right.
normal at
No.
all when
No.
there's a deployment or even a TDY or like anything like that. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, your whole schedule just gets blown to shreds, and
Yes.
that the other person that you maybe kind of depend on for certain things during the day. Like, if dad's the one that drops off in the morning or does like bedtime routine or something, like you're
Yeah.
suddenly solely responsible for all of that.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
can make that a lot harder.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. And that's why it's just nice to kind of have your own thing, where
Yeah.
you're not worrying about how are you going to balance like not going into work because your kid is homesick and stuff like that because you don't
Yeah.
have extra help on hand. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and getting that extra help. Like you said, you either have the daycare, which, we have in the past relied very heavily on
Yeah.
daycare,
Yeah.
just to because it was the easiest thing to do with both of us
Yes.
working full time.
Yes.
It was easy, but I then you have the mom guilt, and that's part
Yes.
of, the evolution of being mom too, is
Yes.
that you start off and you're like, oh, this is so great, like being at home, and then you're like, but I really kind of miss working, and then
Oh, I know. And
you go back to work and they're in daycare all day, and
I
I'm like,
know.
oh my God, my kids
Yeah.
are at daycare from 7 o'clock in the morning
Yep.
until 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. I haven't
Yep.
seen them all day. Like, wonder
Yep.
how they're doing.
Right, exactly. And that's how, yeah, I've dealt with those same struggles and internal like conflicts, and
Mhm.
it's tough, like I have such respect. I mean, my sister has always been like the full-time like 50, she works in the restaurant industry. So she works, weekends and
Mhm.
a lot of late nights and stuff.
Yeah.
And she has two kids, and I really like, I'm in awe of how she balances mom life and hours like that at the same
Mhm.
time. We always just mom just make it work though, like we just gotta
We
push.
do. Yeah, we do. But it is like you said, it's important to have some level of balance. So do you feel like at this point in your career that you have a good amount of balance, or does
Yeah,
it get thrown off pretty frequently with
it gets thrown off frequently, and that's a great question. Like what I've been experimenting with lately that has been really great is getting up, as much as it sucks, getting up really early in the morning when
yeah.
it's dark out, and because I'm my own, like I work on my own, and so I
Mhm.
don't have somebody saying you need to clock in at a certain time or anything.
Yeah.
So I get up, my alarm goes off at 5. I may slap my phone a couple times and hit snooze, and then, but then I come downstairs and I can get a lot of work done, and I just feel so good like mentally, and I feel like I can be more present as a
Mhm.
mom before they come downstairs. Now, when my
Yeah.
kids do come downstairs, then I have to obviously tend to them. The hard thing about working from home is that you have to like train yourself to turn that off, because
Yeah.
you want to keep doing your stuff, but then your child needs you, because I still have my youngest is home half days with me. So
Okay.
I have to like, mentally be like, nope, this goes away now. I
Yeah.
gotta, focus on him. And then when he goes to preschool in the afternoon, then I can go back to doing that stuff. But yeah,
Yeah. So, aside from then the work and the kids, do you have any sort of do you feel like your workouts are your me time, or is there
yeah,
any other outlet for you,
yeah. I mean,
to get
for
in that me
me,
time?
yeah, that for me, that is what it is. Like I used to like think, like ask myself, like, well, what's my hobby? Like, what do I like? Like, I'm not crafty, as much as I'd like to be. Like,
Oh, I know.
I used to love reading fiction books just to like lose
Mhm.
myself in a book, and I haven't been doing that. But like then I think about what I am doing. Like, I exercise every day, and
Mhm.
that fills my, it just makes me feel so good. And then I read personal development every day, and
Okay.
it's fun. Like, books that I read, and like the one that I'm reading right now is called I just started it yesterday, the High Five Habit, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And it's really cool. It's very interesting, but it just reading books like that really kind of fuels like belief, and like eliminates the negative, self talk that we as women tend to do
Mhm.
with ourselves, and say I can never, or I look at me, I'm bad at this or whatever. And so I'm really trying to like fuel myself with positive, energy and belief. And um, that has been like, my hobby. Yeah. And then the creative side, because I do like most of my stuff is through Instagram Instagram specifically. I love
Mhm.
to make and edit and do video like content. So like graphic design, I like to make those things. And I didn't know that I did, but I kind of fell into it and it's fun, like, so I
And
guess
you're so good at it.
oh, thank you. I think you're good at it too, sister. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
I'm taking notes most of the time. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
what did Bridget do today? That was seriously funny. I
Yeah.
can't be that funny, but I'm going to be my own version of funny today.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
No, I'm probably not the only person that's like taking notes on a lot of your videos because they are just so great and
Oh,
so relatable. They are so relatable.
yeah.
Especially there was one I saw the other day that was like the awkward mom at the bus stop.
Oh my gosh. And that's real life for me. I don't know
Oh,
why that is. Like, I go to the bus stop and I'm like, I want to talk to her, but I don't like, does she want to talk to me? I don't know if she does, but I don't want to be a bitch and not say something. But she thinks I'm a bitch anyway, so maybe I just won't say anything. Like, that's like the internal struggle. Yeah.
I have the same internal struggle. And so that's why I'm like, oh, I probably I make a conscious effort, I think,
Yes.
to just smile at people. And
Hmm.
it was something that I went to school in West Michigan, and it
Yeah.
was coming from Chicago. It was this really weird thing where I was, Chicagoans can be a little on the rough side. We're
Yes.
not quite as bad as New Yorkers.
Yes. No, but I get it. I get it. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't think we are, but
Right.
you know, the whole
Right.
resting bitch face is like a definite thing
Yeah.
with Chicagoans.
Yeah.
And so going to West Michigan and everyone was like friendly and happy and smiling all the time. I was like, what is wrong with these people? Like, why
Yes.
are they just like grinning idiots all the
Yes.
time? Like, what is
Yes.
going on? But the longer that I stayed there, I'm like, oh no, this is what nice people look like. Like,
Yes. Oh my
this is,
gosh. That's
this is
so
like
true.
normal Midwestern nice people
Yes.
that are
Oh my
just
gosh, the Midwest is the best. We lived there for a time and they're so
same.
nice. I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like I didn't know that people could be so friendly." Wow. Like,
I
yeah, I
I
get it.
didn't either until I was in it. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I should probably again like take some notes on
Yeah.
what it means to be a
Yeah.
nice person.
Yeah.
And so now I think I still do that. I'm just like the grinning idiot at the bus stop in the morning, but then I'm like, I don't know if this is better or worse. Like,
No,
am
I think
I?
it's good and like, I have two friends that come to mind where they're just so like when I met them, they walked up to me, hi, I'm Mallory, or I'm Courtney and very talkative and friendly and I want to be like that. And anyway, I told both of them at separate times like, "Oh my gosh, like when I first met you, it was just so nice like that you came up and introduced yourself to me." And both of them, they weren't even that this was like two different bases that I've lived at, but both of them were like, "Thank you so much for saying that. It's really hard for me to do that, but I make sure to do
Oh,
that because they're both military spouses." And so they're like, "I make sure to do that
yeah.
because I want to show people that I'm a nice person and like
Mhm.
that I want to make friends and stuff, but it's not easy and I don't really want to." But
No.
and but it teaches me like I'm like I need to be more like assertive and just like
Yeah.
extroverted, I guess,
I
so
I was thinking that part of my reservations or like hesitation about just walking up to someone and smiling and saying hi is because I'm such an introvert
yeah,
and doing things like this is like definitely way out of my comfort zone
yeah,
and it physically exhausts me to
yeah,
do too much
yes,
socialization with other
yes,
people and
yeah,
stuff. So I have to kind of temper it too, where
yes,
I don't want to come across as an extrovert
right,
because then I'll really be worn out.
yes,
But at the same time, like I'm definitely that introvert that usually will wait for extroverts to come
yes,
and say hi.
yes,
And then
yes,
I'll kind of come out of my shell, but I have been definitely pushing myself to
mhm.
get out of my comfort zone and speak and smile and at least say hi. And
I know,
then
because it speaks volumes, like
it
there's a
does.
mom that like it's back to the bus stop. There's a mom that's been standing there like all school year, and I think I can't remember. I mean, so now we're into May, and I just started talking to her like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, gosh, she's a nice person. Like, I like her. I could have been
Yeah.
friends with her all year, and I just
Yeah.
was like a little too shy, and like, so I don't
And
know.
again, with the military, you have such a short amount of time,
Yeah.
usually in each duty station, that if
Yes.
you don't speak right away and start to make friends and or just some sort of personal
Yes.
connection with someone right away,
Yes.
you might not get that chance,
I know.
once
Yeah.
you do, like May is sometimes way too late to
Yeah.
strike
And
up a
then
conversation.
also being a military spouse too, people who aren't, and I'm not saying everybody's like this, but people who
Mhm.
aren't tend to be like, well, I don't want to make friends with them because they're going to move anyway,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
a struggle. Like, that's a struggle for us too, because we want to be plugged in and like have a social life outside of being a wife and mom, and
Right.
it's hard to do sometimes.
Yeah. But as a mom too, you worry more about the kids having struggles
Oh
with
my
those
gosh.
relationships and
Yes.
not so much about yourself having those relationships. And
Mhm.
again, like sometimes you look up and it's too late and the kids are fine
Yep.
and they're
Yep.
perfectly well adjusted and they've made friends and they have friends, across the country and sometimes across the world.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I have like two
I
friends, maybe?
know, but you know what? Quality over quantity, right? So like,
Definitely.
especially the
Definitely.
older we get, like the older
Yeah.
we get, like quality over quantity, and I love that. Making
Yeah.
friends that make you want to be better and like you feel energized when you're with them and stuff. So that's a lesson learned that I didn't know in my 20s that I know definitely in my late 30s. So
No, no, you are still shaping yourself, and I'm
yeah,
still over here evolving too and
yes,
trying to figure things out. But I'm hoping that the podcast, if nothing else, will reach my students, first of all, because I think that a lot of them are in the same boat. Again, very fortunately for me, I teach a wide variety of students who
yeah,
not all of them are traditional college students. Many of them are my age or older,
yeah,
and they're still at that point in their lives, or maybe they don't know quite yet what they want to do,
yeah.
or they've been stuck doing something for a really long time and they're looking to transition into something else. And so I'm hoping that I can give them some ideas and show them that you don't necessarily have to do one thing for your entire life, that it
Oh
is
yeah,
okay to change things up and evolve and learn new things,
right.
because you're constantly learning new things. I'm sure you do you dedicate any part of your day to like studying how to do the designs and
I do.
editing and stuff?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have other friends that are health and fitness coaches as well, and they have social media platforms, and they recommend trainings that I'll jump in on, and there's a lot of influencers on social media that provide a lot of free content where they just kind of show tutorials and stuff and how to do things. And
Yeah.
so I've been able to learn that way, because when I first started in the social media world, I was just posting about me and my life, and that's fine. It's just like a public photo album, basically. But how does that serve your audience? Like, what are you giving your audience, and how are you? Like right now, I still don't even know what I'm doing, but right now the way that I serve my audience is like it's entertainment. Like I'm,
Mhm.
with some fitness stuff and nutrition stuff sprinkled in there casually
Yeah.
because that is a part of my life. But like the thing that I love the most is making people laugh and laughing with other people. Like, I
Yeah.
just that just fuels my spirit. But yeah, like I like to do learn trainings and watch things online. I mean, there's so many things that you can just research and pull up, and it's all free. Or you can, there's people that have e-courses and stuff,
Mhm.
and or blogs, wherever. It's just so crazy. It's almost overwhelming, all the stuff. So
It is. But I think that your page is definitely set up the way that most people like to get their news, right? Like we go
yeah,
to sort of the funny news sources, like the Daily Show and stuff, to get their
yeah,
news,
yeah,
where it's comedy, but there's like news sprinkled in there, sort of,
exactly.
or
Yeah,
they've
that's
made it
it.
entertaining.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Ooh. Ooh.
Now you need your own show. We're gonna do
Yeah,
Shaping Your Mom, the show.
yes. Ooh, a little vlog thing. But see, that's the thing, because when I was started like my Instagram page. Honestly, it didn't start as I wanted in the social media world, but I wanted a blog. And
Mhm.
so I created this blog and I started posting on this blog and I wasn't getting traffic in my blog. And so I thought, how do I do that? Oh, I guess I have to go to Instagram to like find followers, talk about my blog in there,
Yeah.
and they'll funnel in. Well, then I got sucked into Instagram and then my blog, like, just kind of like it just hangs out. And
Yeah.
like, rarely do I ever post like actual like things in there as much as I
Mhm.
would like to. But the Instagram part takes a lot of my time. And so now I have to figure out like the balance of how to do all of it. I don't know how people do all these things. Like they're everywhere. TikTok, Instagram,
Yeah,
uh,
I can't
YouTube.
keep up.
No, it's just so much, so
No.
much.
I started my blog back in, ooh, before blogs were very popular. Do you
Yeah.
remember the like GeoCities
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
websites?
Yeah.
Okay. So back when people had like GeoCities
Yeah.
pages, I
Yeah.
started a blog,
Yeah.
and every time they would come out with like a newer, cooler version of a blog, I would like move everything over to the new
Yeah.
blog and, update stuff in the new blog. And
Yeah.
yeah, when we moved to South Korea, I started updating stuff. So I had like the professor's kitchen, and then I had like the soul kitchen, and
Oh,
no one paid any attention to that.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, friends and family that wanted to keep up with what we were doing
Yes.
kind of paid attention to it a little bit, but
Yes.
for the most part, no one pays it. They go to my Facebook page or they go to my Instagram page and they're like,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah, I know, right? And so then you have to be, yeah, it's just hard. It's hard to
cool. I'm like,
keep
I
track.
wrote a whole blog post about
I
like
know.
what
I know.
we did
I
for a
know.
whole week. They're like,
Yeah.
where are the pictures of the kids? I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
okay. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll see you in a few years. Oh my gosh. Well, I cannot thank you enough for sitting down with me today and during office hours in the professor's kitchen. I will try to leave in the show notes over on the Anchor website or Spotify or wherever people get their podcasts. And I think I'm in quite a few different places now, Apple Podcasts and
Oh,
Amazon Music and Google Podcasts and all of them. So people can check me out there. I will link all of your social media stuff or as much as you would like me to share in the
yeah.
show notes. And also, I'll be sharing this over on the Professor's Kitchen YouTube channel. So if anyone would like to watch the video over on the YouTube channel, that will post a few days after the blog is up, or the podcast is up.
Yeah.
So that people can check us out. If they want to see us, they can. If they want to check out the BB-8 mug and
Yes, there you go. And the Waterloo seltzer. Great.
this
Great.
has to be our picture. We're gonna make sure
Yes,
to get a screenshot of
there we go.
our cups.
Yes.
But yes, I will make sure to share all that so that people can find you. And I will end with one final thought from you, just one final question. What is next for you? I think with military spouses, we all are kind of looking forward to, or most of us, I think, are looking forward to retirement
Yeah.
and possibly transitioning into life being maybe a little bit more about you and your
Yeah.
career or something like that. Is that something that you are also looking forward to,
Oh
or
my gosh, yeah. It's exciting to think about the like retiring and where that's going to be. I mean, we're
Mhm.
moving this summer to Auburn University, and my husband will be the detachment commander there. And
Nice.
so we're going to be college kids again, basically, but not.
So
But
cool.
it's so close to the time where he could retire. So this is the first time where we're like, oh, we could actually like plant roots here. What's
Oh.
that gonna look? Could our kids go to high school here? Oh my gosh. Like, so yeah, there's a lot of like things that, you think about. Like, as of right now, I'm really loving, doing what I'm doing,
Mhm.
helping other women, connecting with other women. I mean, I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for this. And that's what's so cool about social media. Like
Yeah.
sometimes people can be a little leery or like afraid of it, but like there is such a beautiful side to it. And I literally say beautiful. I didn't mention this, but like my youngest son has autism. He was diagnosed with autism
Mm.
a year and a half ago. And I've been sharing about that on there, and I've been able to connect with other moms. And it has helped me a lot because I still feel very new at this. And so talking to other people that have experiences and what they've gone through and therapies and all that has been so huge for me. So, I mean, when you use social media for the right way, and that's everything, Instagram, Facebook, blog, YouTube, all that stuff, like
Yeah.
it can be such a powerful outlet. And so I want to make an impact in that way, continue bringing light and life to people. Now, will that be more focused on my blog someday? Will I design an e-course someday? I have the entrepreneurial thoughts in my head, but I don't
Ooh.
know. Do I have the time yet? No.
No.
Maybe one day I will. But
When you
yeah,
have all the kids in school or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
then
And I mean, that's exciting to think about. I love my children, but having 8 hours would be really, really wonderful in my day to actually have uninterrupted work time. I don't know
I
what that's like.
can't even picture that right now.
Yeah.
Even with my both of my kids, I only have two. I did not
Yeah.
have the standard military issue three.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I stopped at two. I was like, no.
That's good.
Uh, I feel like when you have a boy and a girl, you just
Yeah.
you might not want to roll the
Yeah.
dice one more time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we just stopped at the two.
Yeah.
But now that they're both in school, I'm like, okay, but they get home really early.
Yeah, they must. So do they start school early then where you live?
They don't, not to me. I mean, they kind of, but
Yeah.
not really. I really don't think that they start any earlier
Yeah.
than most normal
Yeah.
schools.
Yeah.
I think, well, I think back in the day when I was in elementary school, I think we probably started later than most
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think we started school till like 8:30 in the afternoon, and 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I don't know that necessarily. And then in high school we started like 7:45. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what normal is. I know it's not as early as we were dropping them off at daycare,
Yeah.
where, sometimes we would drop him off. Like if my husband was doing it by himself, if I had to go out of town or something like that for work, he'd have to drop them off at like 6:45 in the morning
Yeah.
at daycare,
Yeah.
basically when it opened,
Yeah.
and wouldn't grab them until after he got off of work at, 5:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely not that kind of day anymore.
Mm-hmm. But
And
you're home so early, like you said, and then yeah, you have to put on the mom hat again, and yeah.
right. Yeah. And everything shuts down because there
Yep.
are questions, there's,
Oh my gosh.
there are tiny messes and fires and
Oh yes.
questions and
Jump out the backpack, throw the shoes everywhere, and you're like, oh my gosh, please, like, no, like, there's, it's just so fresh. Put your shoes away. Like, it's like a tornado when they come in. So,
this is why you're so relatable. I call them my two tiny tornadoes.
oh, you do? How funny.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
See, yeah, I told you. So again, we could probably chat for much longer, but you have to get some rest so that you can start your very early day tomorrow and get
Yeah.
all of the things done and keep making us laugh, making us all
Okay.
laugh on Instagram. Please, please,
So
please.
fun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you again here in the professor's kitchen at some point as well.
That's
Thank
so
you.
cool. Thank you so much. I had so much fun for real. Seriously.